Hello and welcome back to the fourth edition of the LRL Season 6 Power Rankings. This time we're coming in post week 6, and there wasn't a whole lot of movement this week because there were some hot takes last week that may have turned out to be true and a couple that were way off. So we're jumping right in to number 8. This is the 15 Bulls. They went 0-2 this week, losing to the Trailer Park Boys, and they lost to LRL EMT, taking their season record to 1-5. Nick has returned and he's averaging 22 points on 32% shooting. He probably wants to get that shooting percentage up. Overall, they're last in 3-point and field goal percentage. They're last in net rebounding, but they are first in blocks and only through 2 games, but Nick is leading the league in blocks per game. This team did go as high as number 6 on the power rankings last week. They had a win with a sub of David Cundiff, who ended up winning Player of the Week. First ever sub to win Player of the Week. But back to reality. 0-2 this week, 1-5 overall. 8th in the standings, 8th in power rankings. Moving on to number 7, no movement here for the Trailer Park Boys. They beat the 15 Bulls and lost to the upset, bringing their season record to 2-4. Overall, they're first in three-pointers made and three-point percentage. They're really middle of the pack in field goal percentage, but they are tied for first in assists per game. And PJ is averaging 25 points per game on 49, 43, 46 splits. Those are 2-point, 3-point, and field goal percentage, and he is leading the league in three-point percentage. Overall, this team, again, had a big win over the Bulls, almost an insane comeback versus the upset, but ended up falling short. I think this should be 50 as well. But based on how the other teams around them did, there just wasn't enough to move them up or down in the standings. It's going to be really tight from here on out, from about the 4 to the 7 spot, and I just have to leave them here right now. Not much else to say about this team. Moving on to Team 6 is Prison Ball. They're dropping a spot from 5 to 6. They lost to the Nuggets 51-48 and beat LRL EMT 51-39. They were a possession away from going 2-0 this week and being 3-3 overall. Donnie is averaging 23 points a game on 48% shooting. Remember, he didn't play weeks 1 or 2. And he's also first in assists per game with 6. I believe that would be a season record. Tyler is averaging about 20 points per game on 46, 43, 44 splits since Donnie's return. And overall, this team is last in steals. Good team. Tough loss to the Nuggets. Very close to being 3-3. Again, this is going to be tight down the stretch on the second half of the season. And this team could do some damage, but right now they're just sitting at the 6th spot, 2-4. Moving on to number 5, big jump here for three-piece combo. They're jumping from 8 to 5. I said that this team was just not playing good basketball last week. Granted, Lath did miss 2 games last week. Overall, this week they beat the Nuggets 50-41 and beat Sprinkenmink 50-46. Again, overall with Lath, they are 3-1, and Lath is leading the league in rebounds at 15.75 per game. This team is second in blocks and third in steals. Again, big week for this team. They were 1-3, backs against the wall. They go 2-0, 3-3, 500. Plenty of season left to play. Looking to make a jump in the standings. Moving on to Team 4. No change here for LRL EMT after going 1-1 this week. They beat the 15 Bulls and they lost to Prison Ball. They're overall third in field goal percentage, second in net rebounding, but they're tied for 6th, also meaning last in assists per game. Tyler is averaging 28 points on 47% shooting, having a really good season, but overall this team doesn't play the greatest brand of basketball, and when Tyler's off, this team is finding trouble winning games. Granted, he's only had a couple off games, but they are 3-3 overall. So this team really just feels like a middle of the pack team right now. And again, with how the standings are set, this team could drop to 6 or 7 because there's those teams are only a game behind. Plenty of season left to play still, and will be interesting to see this team moving forward. At the number 3 spot, again, no movement for the Nuggets. They're 4-2, going 1-1 this week. They lost the three-piece combo 50-41, beat Prison Ball 50-48. No, that I think I had this 50-48 before. Anyway, 51-48 beating Prison Ball. Again, team was a possession away from going 0-2 this week and being 3-3. Um, I really feel like this team might be performing a little worse than what their record shows, but again, the reality is they're 4-2. They're third in the power rankings. They are third in the standings. This team is second in three-pointers made per game, second in steals per game, but again, tied for sixth, meaning last in assists per game. Peter's averaging 25.5 points per game, playing pretty well. Tony not shooting the ball as much as he has in the past because Peter's taking the main offensive work. And James, again, just grabbing rebounds and being a rim protector doing his thing. But this team was had a few fraudulent wins. They beat three-piece combo without Lath. They beat Prison Ball without Donnie. They also beat Prison Ball with Donnie, and they beat the 15 Bulls without Nick. Again, I keep saying this, a lot of season left, a lot could happen. There's a 2 game difference between second place and seventh place. So the next few weeks are going to be very important to every single team in the league. Moving on to number 2, this is a huge deal. Sprinkin being previously 4-0, the defending champs looked to be unstoppable, but they go 0-2 this week, losing 2 very close games. They lost to the upset by 2 and three-piece combo by 4. Bryce has still yet to play. I believe he sees the doctor in about a week and a half. Cooper still doing his thing, averaging about 27 points per game on 46, 35, 42 splits. Law of averages are hitting, and those previous insane splits where he was shooting in the 60% have come down, but he's still having a very good season. Again, probably my MVP pick as of right now. Michael Cundiff averaging 3.3 steals per game. That would be first in the league, and they are first as a team in steals per game. And they are still first in field goal percentage and second in 2-point percentage. This team is still dangerous. I know they just lost 2 games, but that is by a combined 6 points. Again, this is a difference of 2 games from second to seventh place, so there is some blood in the water, but I can see this team turning it around and still finishing as a top 2, top 3 seed in the regular season. That means the number 1 team in the season 6 LRL power rankings after week 6 is the upset, being 5-1 after going 2-0 by a combined 4 points this week. Again, this team about 2 possessions away from being 3-3, but they came out in top on in both games, able to take their record to 5-1 and secure the number 1 spot in the standings and power rankings. They are overall second in field goal percentage and first in 2-point percentage, tied first in assists per game, first in net rebounding, and Keith is having a pretty good season, averaging 25 points on 52% field goal, meaning he is shooting best in the league from anywhere on the court. This team is dangerous. Again, I said at the beginning of the season, we didn't know much about them. And week by week, we're finding more out. They are gritty, they play defense, they're able to hit their shots, and they're the best team in the league right now. So that's all for this week. Thank you for listening and watching. Please tune in next week for the post week 8 power rankings. That will be over halfway done with the season. We are playing 14 regular season games. Thanks.